Hello everyone, we are Otaku Sentai Podranger, and this is your host B-Shuck.
And Ben Sheen, or in this case, Boon Boom Ban.
We've got a brand new podcast for you all today. We will be covering the newest installment of the Super Sentai series, Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger. This may sound familiar to you if you watched the first episode of the Cast, but not too long ago, we had just witnessed the end of Osama Sentai King Oger, which was a pretty fantastic show. It was a bit polarizing to some because of the visuals, but a lot of people were really into it for the story and characters, and I was definitely among those people. So it's sad that that show is over now, but just like with Kamen Rider, as one Super Sentai draws to a close, a new one opens up and begins a brand new adventure.
Yeah, because this is my first ever Sentai series. I watched a bit of Power Rangers growing up, but that was legit all of the, I guess if you want to call that Sentai. Um,
Well, it's like
but
the American version of Sentai.
yeah, yeah. So I'm more green to this than I was for Kamen Rider when we started the Gotchard cast.
But yeah, I'm no tokusatsu gatekeeper. Just because someone's new to something doesn't mean I'm going to show them off. I'm going to invite them. You will be forced to listen to my interests and appreciate them. But anyway, these Boonboongers, they just have a really striking design because they just have tires on their faces. Not on the sides of their helmets like you would expect, but just on their faces as their visor. And so a lot of people were really weirded out by that design choice.
Because whenever I first saw it, I was like, okay, that's kind of unique. Because I haven't seen anything like that before, right? Like even with like Sentai or like Power Rangers. I mean, heck, the closest thing I could contribute or attribute this design to would be like say Kamen Rider Drive, and that was a real maximalist. Like they did everything they could with those outfits, made it look as car-like as possible. Like this, it's a little different. It's a lot more minimalist. It's a bit more sleek. Uh, yeah, I really enjoy the outfits personally.
Yeah, I love how the outfits look like race car driver uniforms. Like they even
Yeah.
look like they have tennis shoes on.
Yeah, it's really sporty. Like it's about in the same I wouldn't say it's in the same vein as like as sporty as Gotchard, but like it's kind of its own thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's sleek. They really feel like tire people.
Yeah. It's a very simple design, but with a lot of details that I just really appreciate.
Yeah,
And
they're doing more
so,
with less. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
yeah. And that's how Sentai usually is. It's not as complex designs as Kamen Rider, but there's a real simplicity that just conveys a strong theme in each season.
Yeah.
So in the first episode, it just begins on a pretty wild note. This girl named Mira is in a wedding that this guy named Taya just crashes. Like this guy just
It's such a
drives
crazy
in,
first episode.
comes in, and just snatches her. He's like, "I know you don't want to be here," and picks her up, and they just dip. It becomes a big pursuit, and that's just a hell of a way to start the series.
Oh yeah. Because whenever it's like we first started watching it, because I didn't know what the Sentai formula was. Because it's all I would really be able to compare it to would be Power Rangers, but I know it's like different from Kamen Rider, so I was like, I can't really like compare it to Kamen Rider, you know, it'd be unfair. But such an explosive start. I'll say this: if Sentai knows anything, it knows how to hook you, and it knows how to make like a really entertaining formula.
And especially with recent seasons, because Sentai, while it is about as old as Kamen Rider, it's had way more seasons throughout its history because Kamen Rider's had a lot of hiatus throughout. Like prior to 2000, it had quite a bit of hiatus, especially through the 90s, but Sentai's just been pumping them out every single year. So at this point, it's just trying everything it can to have each new season stand out and be as memorable as possible. So it really feels like they're pushing the limits which is what I appreciate.
Oh yeah.
And you can tell from the first episode that this show will be no exception.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because like this show has like, because like with Gotchard, it really eased you into the concept. This show just rockets you right into it. Because like it almost feels like, say, the first episode feels like at least episode 6 of a Kamen Rider show. You know what I mean? Because it just
Mm.
like it starts you out right off the hook.
Oh yeah, I do see what you mean. Like there's no like real origin story. It feels
Yeah,
like it just goes right into the action.
yeah, it just
Which
pops
I
you right
mean,
into
there
the
are
world.
some Kamen Rider seasons that do that. For
Yeah,
example, Drive just started in the middle of the action.
yeah, I do remember that because I watched was it the first episode of Drive with you,
Yes.
and yeah, because that was like the first. I think that was the very first Kamen Rider series that I was like, I want to check this out because I like the design.
Yeah,
And I
I
just
think
kind of
that
fell
was.
off like instantly.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's like that was I was a lot less like open minded about Tokusatsu then because I was like Hot Wheels, but it's like I've come to like really at least after Geats, I've really come to like appreciate the more like action figure designs of things.
Oh yeah, it's. I know not everyone likes how toyetic it is. Some say it feels like a toy commercial, but to me, I just really like the aesthetic of it because there really isn't like anything like quite like it on
Oh
TV.
yeah, because like uh, because the effects are like they're mostly practical. Yeah, it's just fun to watch compared to like other like action oriented shows because it's super flashy. It's very aesthetic oriented. I think that's the biggest thing is it's so aesthetic oriented that it kind of like it's I mean it's basically begging to be commercialized, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the two just go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah. And it's like you can get like the toys, but then there's like the actual expensive like replicas of stuff from the show, you know? Kind of like Star
Yeah.
Wars.
Getting back onto this plot, Taya is reporting in to someone through his watch-like device, the Boon Boom Changer, and he's saying that he's secured his package referring to Mira, which seems kind of demeaning to women, but I won't presume. It also turns out that she might have been forced into this marriage by a yakuza boss, which is another just like what the fuck type
Yeah,
thing.
cause like whenever they're driving away and like it's like there he is, and it's like a clown car full of Yakuza members.
Yeah,
It's so funny. Yeah, it's like because it just drops us right into it because I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then like then he kind of explains why he's there while they're driving away because he's like, yeah, you're about to marry a real piece of work, but apparently, um, he was hired by her then actual boyfriend who instructed him to take her to the airport. We're getting this from the Super Sentai wiki, by the way, which hats off to them for keeping the synopses for each episode up because the Kamen Rider wiki's kind of slacking on that.
oh yeah. Much appreciation for the people that work on the Super Sentai Wiki. Pretty good resource.
Yeah, but yeah, he's basically telling her to take her to the airport so that both of them could just run away from the mom and live happily ever after.
Although Mira, being the independent girl boss that she is, isn't happy with this because it feels like on both sides they're trying to make a decision for her instead of like letting her make her own decision.
Yeah, which it was really cool to see because it's like her taking the initiative. It's like, oh, she's totally gonna be like a secondary Sentai writer. But yeah, it's
But
like
either way, Taya's like, well, a job's a job, and is just doing it for
yeah.
that sake, not necessarily being an altruist. And so there in his little sports car, just zooming around, trying to escape the Yakuza and trying to find that airport. And meanwhile, we see a robot who's making curry back at home base. This robot is named Boon Boon for short, but full name Boondorio Boonderis. And I'm not
It's like
making that up.
that's like Black Bolt, dude. Blackagar Boltagon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Boondorio Boonderis,
Yeah,
that's
same
like,
yeah,
I hope they
same
don't get
notion.
sued for that one.
And like whenever I first saw, I was like, "What the heck? There's a freaking transformer in this show."
Yeah.
But
Which,
he is an alien, and turns out he does transform, so I'm not too far
yeah,
off.
yeah, he basically is a transformer.
But
But
it's crazy because it's like they could totally make a Transformers tokusatsu with that whole aesthetic.
oh yeah, that'd be
Just
awesome.
imagine that. That would be sick.
Yeah, I wonder how expensive it would be to make all those suits though.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that'd be like most of the budget. They
Yeah.
definitely have to get their money back on the toy line.
Oh yeah. But Sentai does have a long history of like robot companions in different seasons. So this is basically like upholding that legacy,
All
like
right, so
having
this is
this guy
tradition at
around.
that point.
Oh, sorry, what?
So it's like tradition at that point then.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
not necessarily like every season, but it's
Yeah.
like a trope. But anyway, the robot asks what's going on because uh, Ishiro, or rather Chashiro, stops searching for roots. But it's because Ishiro's monitor is detecting an anomaly coming for Taya and Mira, and that anomaly is a large monster car with two aliens in it um, that just totally blows past the Aori family and destroys their vehicles. And of course,
This
these guys
yeah.
are the
Enter the
Hashalians.
Hashilians. Yep. The
Yeah,
Hashilians,
are
dude.
antagonists for the
I love these
season.
guys. I absolutely love these guys.
Oh
They're
yeah, I love
they're
their
just
designs.
yeah, I love the designs and they're just absolute losers.
Yeah,
It's so fun to just hate them.
they're like Team Rocket,
Yeah. Even like the little oh, I forgot what the little car's name is that they have.
a Yadu car.
Yeah, Yadukar. He's it's you just love to hate him.
Oh yeah, they're goofy. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't
'cause like
even hate them that
yeah.
much. I mean, they're just almost too incompetent to hate.
Yeah. That's pretty much how it's like, oh yeah, these guys again. Hope they get the crap kicked out of them. They're space gangsters, right? Space gangsters ready to
Yeah,
get like uh, gasoline.
yeah, terrorizing humans and just trying to get as much negative energy, which manifests as this mysterious force called gasoline. Not gasoline, gasoline. Whatever that is. It appears to be fuel for Yarukar.
Oh man, yeah, and like with the and that fuel, because a thing about this show that like it became I became aware of like pretty early on is that they definitely stick to a formula, uh, but they stick to it well. And we'll get into that. We'll get into that, and it involves Yarukar and gasoline.
Yes.
Uh,
And of course, this is an allegory for the American oil crisis. No, not really.
yeah. So
So,
so Itasha is the female gangster of the group,
oh
and
yeah, the cat looking one.
yeah, because like the dude I forget his name, but he's got like exhaust pipes that are like slick back hair, like it just he's got a really cool design. But that's like the most striking part is his like hair exhaust.
Oh yeah, all
And
sorts of
she kind of looks like
details.
a cat.
So,
But
Taya's not happy about this news because he knows about the Hush aliens and he wasn't expecting them to be on Earth so soon. And so, but they may be in a high-speed pursuit, but they are heroes after all. And even the villains, have enough sense to stop at a crosswalk to let an old lady come through. So they just stop for like 10 seconds, let her pass, and then they continue on their business.
yeah, this show definitely feels a lot more like action comedy than Gotchard does.
Yeah. Sentai usually leans more into the comedy overall,
Yeah.
like even in more serious seasons, which is what I appreciate because it's like when you have like Sentai and Rider back to back, like they're similar in genre, so you do want them to like stand apart from each other. So Sentai is usually on the sillier side, while Kamen Rider is the more high drama stuff.
Yeah. Like especially with these last couple episodes of Gotchard, man. Like with our last episode, all the stuff that we covered, that was like tough, very tough emotionally. I'm excited to see where this show goes though, with the later season.
So, Itasha, who is the aforementioned cat hush alien, she wants to quote unquote send Mira's wedding dress on the road, which we'll get to why shortly. They decide that it'll be their first job on the planet. And so, as the car chase continues, Ty is swerving around, trying not to be run off, but then turns his car backwards and activates a booster rocket under the hood to just shoot off into the opposite direction, like it's the Thousand Sunny from One Piece, just shooting off into the distance. And so they escape that way.
That was awesome because like you just see like the arc and Mira's just like. Ah!
It goes to show Taya's mechanic skill because he just knew how to. Well, I guess I mean he is driving the supercar, so it's
Yeah.
not just any old car. As the car is flying off, a mysterious man dressed in orange with an orange lollipop to match is watching on and gives Taya credit for how well he customized his car. But we'll see more of him in due time. So the car launches off, but it also has little mini thrusters, so the car can just hover and slow down and land completely safe.
Yeah, it's like he's really decked this car out. Oh
Yeah, he's on some Fast and Furious shit.
yeah. Mira's all worn down from stress, and like Taya's like, yeah, maybe we should take a little small detour. So they stop at like this clothing shop, what was it, a bouquet or a
What?
boutique. That's where they stop at boutique, and he's like, he goes up, he's like, yeah, let me buy the whole store, and and the owner's like, okay,
Yeah, he's rich as fuck
all yours.
apparently.
And so and then like he basically tells Mira, is like, yeah, just you can have anything you want in the store, but you should probably toss away that wedding dress so the hash aliens can't get it.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker, right? She's like, I'm not throwing this dress out. And to which he's like, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna be out here while you do that then. And let me tell you, man, Cheshiro, I think he's my favorite character so far. Just like in the series. Yeah, I think because like these characters have such strong archetypes, that it's hard not to
Oh
like
yeah.
them.
Yeah, they all stand out amongst each other.
Yeah.
But Ishiro's, asking what the holdup is because, they're taking a while. And Taya's like, oh, something interesting happened, which is probably the last thing you want to hear when you're running a job and you need to do things in a timely manner. But apparently Ishiro is fine with it. And so he's like, all right, I'm just going to head over, see what's going on. And so Mira gets decked out in her new fit, looking at her wedding dress. It seems to be important to her. So she's looking at the wedding dress and just kind of thinking about it and how she said she doesn't like having her control over her life taken away. And so I guess that's why she feels so strongly about it. It's not the dress itself, but it's just what it represents in that situation. Which I guess that makes it both a blessing and a curse because it's like she was being forced into a wedding while simultaneously being forced out of it. And so it's probably a lot of conflicting feelings.
Well, she does prepare to leave the dressing room. However, Itasha was waiting for her and places a strange key into Mira's wedding dress. Uh,
Yep.
so like this is basically like the amalgams of this show,
These
and
are our monsters of the week.
these, it's like they put a key into random objects and turns them into the enemies. Uh,
Yeah. The auto monsters,
the
as
auto
they're
monster.
called.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a wedding dress monster, which freaks Mira out. And so, yeah, it's just trapping civilians into wedding dresses with a beam, just smothering them in dresses. Pretty random, but that's the fun of Sentai. Usually the monsters just inflict random yet highly specific forms of chaos.
Yeah, and like they get like at least where we're at in the series now, they just get crazy with the creativity. I love the enemies in this series because it's just so it's so weird and creative, man.
Yeah,
It's
it's
always
just
just fun to see what they
wild.
turn into a monster next.
Oh yeah. So this chaos is just to make the humans scream, which that um, sense of that sense of misery and despair is what creates gasoline, and so that is the fuel source that makes the monsters stronger, basically. And so with this, Itasha declares that the Earth is officially Hashalian turf, and so she summons some foot soldiers called Nejiretas, and so they continue to attack people.
Yeah, the Neji Ritas, it was cool because I was like, oh yeah, because like in Geats we don't really have like uh, a wide variety of like foot soldier, like the Jamato and Geats. It's mainly
Yeah.
just like the actual like Malgams themselves. So it's cool to have like actual like foot soldiers again.
Wait, you meant in Gotchard they didn't have foot soldiers really? Because Geats
Yeah,
just has like the
yeah.
base form Jamato as foot soldiers.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because they got the Jamato were basically just because there's a lot. It was a lot of like waves of like enemies and like the occasional like boss monster who is like the big bad. But in Gotcha, it's like all big bads. It's almost like a unique dynamic in Gotcha. But I'm talking too much about Gotcha in this Sentai podcast.
I just can't get enough of it.
Yeah,
So it turns out the real reason she didn't want to throw it out, the dress, I mean, is because it belonged to her grandmother. So there's obviously sentimental value there. And so Taya now realizes why it's so important. Which I guess she could have said that to begin with, but I guess she didn't want a trauma dump. So Taya asks Boon Boon if he can do anything to get the dress back, even though it's become a monster. But Boon Boon confirms that once the monster is defeated, the object goes back to normal. At least for this one. I'm not sure if it's the same every time. But Taya agrees that, free of charge, he's going to fight that monster and get her dress back. And thus begins the transformation sequence. Using the Boon
we
Boom
are seeing
changer,
some
he
goodness right here.
transforms. Oh,
Yeah,
what'd
because
you
like
say?
whenever like him like the transformations is really sick in this show.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
like the visuals in general are just like really flashy.
Yeah, because like it really gets you hyped. Because like uh when it's like boom 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 boom, and
Oh
then
yeah, like each
yeah,
time you press the Boon changer.
oh yeah,
So yeah, Boon Red's just kicking ass, defeating all the foot soldiers. Um, Mira's into it. She thinks this superhero stuff is cool,
he's like
and
wow,
Taya
Tire
calls
Man.
for, yeah, the Tire Man. He calls Ishiro in to take care of the package while he fights the Hush aliens, and so Ishiro takes Mira to Taya's car to get to the airport.
As that's going on, Wedding Dress tries to go after Mira, but Taya gets between the Wedding Dress monster from getting anywhere near her. And we switch scenes. It transitions to uh, Mira and Chishiro, and like it's coming to a head. She's like she's sick of people making decisions for her, and she's like, "Screw this! I'm taking the wheel." And she grabs Chashiro's boom boom changer and triggers the supercar's hood rocket,
Yeah,
flies back to the battlefield, and the car lands right between Boon Red and the wedding dress. And then she's like, "I want to fight with Taya, and I will decide who I want to where I want to be." who and where I want to be, and and Ty's just like, oh, okay, and then he just like reaches in a glove compartment and gives her a boom boom changer.
Yeah,
And
Taya just is down for whatever, honestly.
yeah,
That's what I
and
love about him.
Then Chashiro's just like, dude, what are you doing? This is a random person.
A random person who potentially almost killed me and herself by setting off a rocket in our car just out
Yeah,
of nowhere. Which maybe that's just what Taya is looking for in a Boonboonger. Someone
yeah.
who's willing to do dangerous shit that just works out miraculously. So yeah, she gets a changer, and so she transforms into Boon Pink.
Boom Pink, and then as for Chashiro, he follows suit and transforms into Boon Blue.
And thus the three Boonboongers have united.
And what a peak experience it is, because like I'm used to there being like say a single Kamen Rider, maybe in the first episode of a Kamen Rider series. But for this, we're getting right into it. You know what I mean? We got like at least like half the team's already there
Yeah.
from the beginning. Yeah, it's just so cool, man. I just love it because like they're this is kind of where like the aforementioned like formula comes in. Um, so they just beat the crap out of this wedding dress,
Oh yeah.
and
Which before we get on to that, I just want to say I love how the roll calls thing is seemingly all Taya's idea, and Tashiro just thinks it's lame as hell, but he's just forced to do it anyway.
he's such a good character.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I mean, he's not my personal favorite yet, but he's definitely a good one. I mean,
Yeah,
all these characters are good.
because I like let's see, I think for me it's between Chashiro and Mira, my favorite.
For me, it's like probably either Taya or Mira so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, they
I think
all,
he's so embarrassed. He's like, boom, boom, boom.
yeah. So yeah, they all kick the wedding dress's ass and clear out the Nejiretas. And I want to give a shout out to their finisher, the Bakuage handling drive. Like the way Boon Red just shoots like the no sign where it's like a circle with a cross through it. Like he just shoots that with bullet holes into the fourth wall and just traps the monster in it. Like I really love that one.
Oh yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, it's like this massive finisher. And it's like, oh wow, yeah, we won, guys. Until
Till
uh
Yadukar swoops in and
yeah.
eats up all the excess gasoline and enters highway space, which basically looks like a bootleg Rainbow Road map from Mario Kart. And so it's time for the Boonboongers to get in their cars and follow in pursuit. And I really like the transition sequence of them just like terraphasing into their cars. Like it's a nice sequence. And the the on the road fight scene itself is pretty fun. Like it's like
Because
the
each
part
time
where
it's
they're on the
different.
Rainbow Road is all CG, so they can
Yeah.
do like a lot more with it than they could with like practical Zords. So
And
like
the
those are
CG's
pretty fun
good
to
too.
watch.
The CG's
Yeah,
good, and like then every time that, because like this happens often. This is part of the formula where they beat a monster, and then uh usually this is when Yadokar will absorb the gasoline and then go into highway space. And so this is phase two, what I like to call it. Uh, so basically it's usually just them in different scenarios on this road trying to get Yadokar before he can drive off. This is also where Mira gets introduced to Boon Boon, and he's at least happy that Mira's with him, because Taya and Bundora are like, yeah, heck yeah, Mira, and Cheshire's like, I don't know why we're doing this. This is a terrible idea.
Amira also gets the finishing blow on Yadukar in the highway chase scene by just ramming the car into the guardrail and making it spin out, which goes to show she can really handle the wheel. Or wait, actually no, it was Boondorio that lands the finishing blow, but Mira definitely helped a lot. And so that shifts us into the next phase and final phase of the battle, where Yadukar gets knocked off the course, spits up the gasoline, which then goes into the wedding dress and revives the Auto Monster as a giant. So it's time to call in the
This
Megazord.
phase 3.
So,
And whenever I first saw this, I was like, no way they got a giant mech, man. Which I should have seen it coming. I should have seen it coming. But whenever like they started to transform into like a Megazord basically, I was like, no way. This rules. This is what sold the show for me. I
oh
was
yeah.
like, man, I love me some giant robot action.
I mean, the giant robots have always been, or like almost always been, the selling point of Super Sentai. Like its defining feature in contrast to Kamen Rider. And so Bundorio, who so Bundorio's gone from robot mode to car mode, and he now goes into gate mode where Boon Blue and Boon Pink's respective Boon Boon cars just go through and enter attack modes, which then combine with the Bundorio, who goes back into robot mode, thus forming Boonboomger Robo, which is a pretty nice looking robot.
Oh yeah, it's very bulky, and practical. Uh, so it's like even if the highway segments are all CG, which they are good CG, this just takes the cake. I mean, just look
Oh
at this
yeah.
freaking robot, man.
Even though they are a giant robot, they're still courteous of traffic laws because they wait for a car at a crossing to pass, and once the car passes, then it's time to fight. And so they knock it into a building under construction, which is like, they're careful about traffic safety, but, fuck a building, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
I guess the difference is that, as long as no human life is harmed, that's all they care about.
yeah. Let the city pay for any damages.
Yeah, they got this. So, one aspect about this giant robot fight scene that comes back in other episodes that I really like is that Bundorio can detect like screws on the monster's armor,
This
and
I really,
since
yes, dude, I really enjoy this.
and since
It,
Boon Blue's weapon is like a screwdriver thing, he just uses the screwdriver to undo all the screws and make the armor fall off, and then the
it's such a
monster's
unique
embarrassed that
thing.
it's naked.
Yeah, because it's like I've never seen something like this before. Because it's like having a screwdriver as a weapon is pretty cool, but then it's like, oh, since all the enemies are like basically cars, we can just unscrew them and just take them apart. And then when they do that, it's like, oh, I God, I'm naked.
Yeah, it really plays into like a mechanic motif, which
Yeah,
I really enjoy. And then not only does it not only do they dismantle the monster, but then they create something new out of it and create a wedding cake prison to trap the monster in. And they quote unquote slice the cake with the boom boom finish, which is just this very flashy like finisher sequence where it has like the 3 2 1 go like Mario Kart type traffic lights, and they just decimate the monster and destroy it. So Mira gets her grandmother's wedding dress back, and all is well.
not with her boyfriend though, because she goes up and she's like, yeah, we're breaking up. I'm gonna go do
Yeah,
cool things now, taking my life in my own hands.
yeah, I've got better shit to do.
Yeah. And Ty is like, hey, it's her choice, man. And then like they just drive off.
Yeah. And Yadukar has no memory of what happened while he was under the influence of gasoline,
So he was
which
like,
implies that he was drunk driving or some shit,
dude,
or
that's crazy.
probably some shouldn't be drinking gasoline and driving.
And then like uh the other two Ashilians are just like, oh wow, What's he up to? Why is he like? I've never seen him like this before. And he's just drunk driving on Rainbow Road.
Yep. Otherwise known as a Friday night.
Yep.
So now we're on
That
to
is
episode 2.
that is only the first time that happens, and I would not be surprised if that happened for the rest of the series.
Yep.
But let me
It's
tell
a
you,
bad habit of his.
the thing is, it's one thing to have a formula. It's another thing to make it like good and fresh each time.
Yeah.
Because like if anything, this show is consistently entertaining.
Oh yeah. It's a lot of fun. Just every episode.
Because like if we're gonna make it episodic, let's keep it to a formula, but let's also like let's just do everything we can to make it awesome.
Yeah. It's finding creativity within limitations.
Absolutely.
But anyway, that was a really good episode 1. And now on to episode 2. So Mira's walking to Taya's house, seeing that Taya, as suggested in the first episode, is loaded as hell. And so he has a large mansion with a pool and everything. And so Taya triggers a hidden entrance into the lab area that we saw in episode 1. And, well, not a lab, but like a garage, since they got cars in there.
Yeah. Kind of get a better look at the different vehicles too, because they have like this like it's not even like a Hot Wheels aesthetic. It almost feels like Lego cars, but they're a
Um,
little bit more like blocky.
a little bit, yeah. Someone, see, Taka on YouTube suggested that they looked like Takara Tomy cars, which I guess that's more of a Japanese thing. I
Yeah.
don't know if they've released those, but they do kind of have like a toy car aesthetic, but that's pretty expected.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we see that they use their Boonboomger weapons as like mechanic tools because Taya uses his Boon Boon handle to change his car's oil, which would definitely make changing oil a lot more fun in real life if you could do that
Yeah.
with a Boon Boon handle. Ishiro briefs Taya on the next job. They gotta escort top secret documents from an ambassador who represents a certain country for Japan to the president who's visiting in Japan in secret. And so it's got to be as covert with no leaks. It's got to be like this shit is serious, and it makes you wonder what the hell they're delivering. Taya's like, a job's a job, I'll do it. Ishiro is, put off by the fact that these two countries won't discuss it in the open. He finds it really shady. And honestly, that sums up his character in general. Like he really likes transparency and to know like what all is going on. Like he doesn't just take shit at face value, which I do appreciate about him. And you'll see throughout this episode that even despite Mira formally joining the team, he's still untrustworthy of her. It'll be a bit of an arc to win him over.
And because like I think something really cool about this is that like even if like they stick to like a strict formula, like each episode is so character centered
Oh
that
yeah.
it's just like characters always are growing, you know. And like this is like one such example because like I remember when I first watched this episode, I was surprised. I was like, oh wow, they're going right into this because I thought it would be like they would do a couple missions and it's like okay, now you're testing how you feel with each other, but it's like they're going right into it. I was like, well, this shows because this show definitely has like pretty fast pacing, just because like it's almost like they have like whole arcs just in single episodes.
Yeah.
And it's like wow, it's like these characters are. I bet they're gonna be just like super complex and deep by the end of this.
Oh yeah. As Mira and Ishiro are kind of bickering, Boon Boom comes in with curry because this robot can cook pretty well, and so offers everyone some food. But the awkward silence of the tension, puts him off, obviously. But Mira really enjoys the curry and compliments Boon Boon, which flatters him. And uh, Boon Boom kind of roasts Taya and Ishiro because he's like, well, those two are pretty dry on the compliments, so I appreciate you complimenting me so much. So it's like, man, they gotta show more respect. But yeah, Mira really is like, not necessarily like the straight man, but like she's like the most normal one because she's not used to like all this high tech, like almost spy movie stuff. So she's just
Yeah,
in awe at
she's
everything.
like the almost like the viewer's point of view, because
Yeah,
she's like the character that's supposed to like bridge the gap from reality to this like crazy world of just
yeah,
like uh Lego cars and highway chases.
yeah. I mean, she almost feels like the main character right now with how much focus she gets in these first 3 episodes.
Oh, definitely. I feel
Which
like
I'm sure
yeah,
as it goes on, it'll put more focus on Taya and Ishiro because it's like there's a lot of mystery behind the both of them and how they got there that I think they're really saving that stuff for later.
yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, because like Taya, he's slowly getting developed. But we've seen the most development from Mira and Chishiro so far.
Oh, but Taya has to correct Mira on one thing. Boom Boom is not a robot, but rather an alien. An alien which Taya found um, after an accident when he crashed on Earth. But the two become friends after that, and Boom Boom is now a part of the team. Which did it suggest that Taya formed the team and then Boom Boom joined, or was it the other way around?
Let's see,
Because it seems like all this technology is like connected to him
definitely,
being the robot.
yeah. He has the money, and so it makes you think like, well, where did he get that money? Uh, I think honestly he had this going for him until like just like general like uh I think general operations until well, now that I think about it, I bet Boom Boom was the one that gave him like the Boom Boom changers. So I bet like the whole idea of what Taya was going for was still there, but like the actual I think Boom Boom's arrival just like really sealed the Ranger part. At least
Yeah.
that's how I see it.
Anyway, we also learned that the Hashalians are part of a space mafia, a collection of criminals from a wide variety of different planets working to expand their territory and just trying to take over the universe, basically. Meanwhile, at a warehouse, the leader of the Hush aliens, who we didn't say before, but his name is Deko Torade, opens he opens comms with his boss, Commander Charge Team Captain Mad Rex of the Hushalian Expeditionary Force. And so they assure to him that they're working on claiming Earth and that they're going to take over and that they'll have a vast supply of gasoline once they're done. And so Madrex is satisfied and allows them to continue, but insists that he better not make him look like a fool, which, as we explained earlier, they kind of fail at.
Yeah, that's like he's literally asking Team Rocket not to screw up.
So they're looking around, finding some random shit to turn into a monster, and they come across a vacuum, which, vacuums usually make for good monsters. So they transform it with another ignition key to create the vacuum auto monster.
This one's really cool because he has like that the vacuum on his side of the like his I think it's like his was it his left hand
I don't
or was it
remember.
both? Yeah,
Just one of the
one of
hands.
his one of his hands was a vacuum,
But yeah,
and
it
then like in the
hits.
other hand it like was like a compactor.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It was at least where the rest of the trash went is what I figured.
Yeah. But anyway, this vacuum monster is just sucking shit up and even almost sucks up the Hosh aliens. So that almost really backfired on them.
Yeah, like
Go
it
ahead.
makes you think that like if they make like an auto monster that's dangerous enough, they could get swept into the combat too at some point.
Oh, yeah. Possibly. Although I think usually the auto monsters are subservient, like they aren't gonna go against the grain.
Yeah.
That's how. Well, we might get one or two where it's like a gag that the monster's actually a nice guy. That happens
Yeah.
sometimes.
I feel like if anything, like they'll just probably be collateral if that were to happen.
Yeah. So anyway, Mira gets the full briefing on the Boonboomger mission, and she asks if it was Boon Boom or Taya who developed the Boonboomger gear. And Taya insists it was the culmination of both of their dreams. So I guess they both collabed and made it together. But anyway, Ishiro insists that he doesn't accept Mira. And so, but obviously Taya doesn't care because he's already decided she's part of the team. And Ichiro, he won't say whether he will accept Taya's insistence or not. So it kind of seems like he's just begrudgingly following whatever he wants, even if he really disagrees.
And it really shows his loyalty too, where it's like, yeah, even if I disagree with team leader, like I'm not gonna like totally just leave.
Yeah, which Ishiro does insist that Taya's never fucked him over before,
Yeah.
so may as well keep having faith in him. Oh, and then we get an interesting flashback where Taya's pointing his gun at Ishiro's head. Like,
Yeah.
that was fucking crazy. Like, what's that all about?
He's like, yes, boss. No matter what, boss.
He's probably afraid he's gonna get shot
He's
again.
shot in the head.
Yeah. And that, like, to this day, like, hasn't been addressed yet, so that's still a long-standing mystery. So, Mira is confused as to why Ishiro is working for Taya, even though Ishiro has um, explained that he's a skilled information broker. But there's probably also another mystery, that ties in with that flashback. So they get the package with the documents, but then the vacuum monster sucks it up, and so yeah, like you said, he has a vacuum in one hand and then a dust canister, not a compactor, in the other that he keeps
Yeah.
everything in. And meanwhile, we get a police officer who comes in on the scene on his bike, but then that bike and his helmet get sucked up as well, so he gets screwed.
Not the last we see of that guy either.
But that character will be coming back later. We will see him again. So Ichiro says, "All right, we can't transform yet. We got to have a game plan." And he's observing the monster and seeing that it uses a cyclone effect to create like the powerful suction. But Mira's not focused on that. She's focused on saving people. So she saves the police officer. Officer, what was his name? Uh,
Was it wasn't show, was it?
Joe Akase.
Yeah.
Which,
J-O-U
if you
Akase.
haven't noticed, all these names are like puns. So like Taya sounds like tire. Chashiro kind of sounds like, I think,
Uh,
Chassel.
I think
Or
it's
no, his
Chastis.
well, his first name is Maeda,
Ish.
so like
Mega.
meter.
And then Mira, Mirror.
Yeah, and then Akase sounds like Axel.
We don't know what the other guy, the orange dude. Oh,
See,
his
his
name
name
is.
is Genba, which I forget what his name is a pun for.
Must be why it's so easy to remember these characters' names.
Oh yeah,
I noticed I was like, hey, it's a lot easier to remember them as compared to like Gotchard.
yeah. Sentai likes to use puns with their naming conventions. Like that ties in with the concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mira transforms and saves Officer Akase, and Akase's like, "Oh, tire human," and gets a tire or a sign falls on his head and knocks him out. So that cuts him off. Um, But Ishiro is just standing by, not doing anything to help.
Yeah, he's just letting her do that.
He just seemingly goes off. Mira nearly gets sucked up by the vacuum monster, but then Taya swoops in and defeats, well, not defeats, but he swoops in, saves Mira, and kicks the vacuum monster, grabs her weapon, and strikes it and sends it back. He gives her back the handle, and she's like, "Yeah, Ishiro just ditched us." And Taya's like, "Don't worry, I know exactly what's going on." Like, he understands the assignment. Like, he knows Ishiro didn't just abandon ship. Like, he's doing something here. But then the man with the lollipop appears, who we saw basically in a cameo in the first episode. And Taya explains that he basically works as like a delivery man for him, just off in the side.
Yeah, he's always just like around, and
Yeah,
it's like
he's like
his
he's
role
like their
outside of
drug
that
dealer.
isn't really the plug.
So anyway, Taya transforms. Hush aliens are just watching, encouraging the monster to defeat the Boonboomgers. So yeah, this vacuum monster is tough. It has real strong armor against their swords, and even sucks up their bullets. Like, seems like there's nothing they can do, which is probably why Ishiro didn't want to just jump into combat. Like, he knew that this thing would be serious business, and it can blow. Like, it can't just suck in wind, but blow it as well. Good night, everybody. But
Good night, everybody.
yeah, he blows the two of them away. Taya just goes ahead and uses the wheels on his boots to create a counter vortex and then drift full speed and strike the monster from behind. Which I like how much like the wheels on, because they have wheels on their shoes, on their back, and on their
Oh yeah,
face, and they
dude.
can utilize them all in combat.
Because like later on we see the back, like the wheels on their like shoulder blades. Uh, they do some cool things with that, but we'll get into that when the time comes.
Then Boom Boom Wagon arrives in attack mode. The side panel pops up and sends the vacuum monster flying into it, and then traps it in a pincer hold, which turns out Ishiro wasn't just slacking, but he actually went back to go get his car.
They do the goat.
So he drives off, drops it off at the dump, and he gets excited about it because he sees all this trash, and he sucks it all up until his vacuum hoses clog. And Taya is like, "This is exactly what I wanted." And so he steals the dust canister and retrieves the package. Ishiro swoops in, energizes one of his boot tires, and hurls it at the monster, knocking it into another pile of trash. And Mira's like, "What the hell? You guys had a plan?"
Yeah, she just wasn't on any of it.
Yeah, it's like Taya's like, "Yeah, you're part of the team now, but you won't have any idea what we're doing." Which I guess that was part of the plan. I guess Taya knew that she would be busy trying to save the police officer, so he just went ahead and planned around that. Which just goes to show how smart Taya is. It was Ishiro's idea to get the vacuum clogged, and Taya points out that Ishiro is just really good at observing the situation and just coming up with like the perfect counterattack.
And it's a very economically clean solution where they went to the dump and then he sucked up all the trash, cleaned that place out.
Yeah, and he did it all within the law too, because Taya went ahead of time and procured legal papers to purchase and gain full ownership of the recycling center, to make sure it's all by the books. And so that was pretty ingenious on his part.
Yeah, Ty is just
And
he's like the Batman of this show. If he was just like
yeah,
all about money.
he's like if Bruce Wayne could get bitches. But I like when Taya's like, "You really earned Ishiro's respect with this Mira," and Ishiro's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, Taya just says shit sometimes. Like he really just
Yeah.
is like
That's what I
whatever
like
he
about
says
him.
goes.
Because he'll just say the darndest thing, and then Cheshire would be like, "Hell yeah," even if he
Yeah.
disagrees with it.
So anyway, the vacuum monster calls up a platoon of Nejireta foot soldiers. And so the Boonboongers do their roll call, this time with like their full graphics, where it shows their name spelled out in
Oh yeah,
what
that
I'm
was
pretty
really
sure
cool
is
to see.
Fast and Furious font.
Yeah, it did look like it, didn't it?
Yeah,
I would not be surprised if that was the case.
like they totally got some Fast and Furious inspiration in making the
Definitely.
show. And so they do that, and then they just start kicking ass. They just clear out they just clear out the foot soldiers with their wheel-based powers. And I really like when Mira just taps one on the shoulder and whacks it in the head with her
Yeah.
boom boom handle like a baseball bat. Then they finish it off with another Bakuage handling drive.
And he goes, "But I gotta clean," and he explodes. And Yaya binge drinks again, or
Yeah, he's on another
Yarukar.
bender.
Yaya Yarukar. Yep.
So
Highway space a go.
it's time for another race on Rainbow Road.
Tai says no job takes priority over another, as they are delivery men and boonboongers.
That's right.
Because Ishiro's like, "Hey, we need to get this package to where it needs to go." He's like, "No, we gotta do what we gotta do, man."
Yeah.
And like, and he's like, "Man, you really gotta calm down." And then like, Mira is just like, "Yeah, let's join him and save the day." And Ishiro's like, "Oh God, fine."
Yeah.
Then Boom Boom's getting ready. They all enter highway space.
And so Yarukar fires the missiles. They have to dodge. And then Ishiro speeds up and hard brakes backwards. Just pulls up just to brake check, basically. Or wait, no. No, he pulls up in front of Yarukar and like turns around and hard brakes and then slams the gas pedal to just shoot him into the ramp of the Boom Boom trailer and then just throw him way out of the highway. Which, man, I love the just dangerous shit they get onto in highway
Yeah.
space. Like the car combat is pretty fun to watch, honestly.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like this because the CG's really good. I
Yeah,
might have said that like 3 times already, but yeah, I can't stop reiterating it. It's like for a weekly show that does like these sequences like every single episode, the CG is really good.
yeah. Now we got phase 3 with the giant vacuum monster. This time with the feather duster attachment to clean shit off. So we get another Boonja Robo formation, but they come they come towards a red light and they stop just in time. Just goes to show how much they care about traffic safety.
So wait, they got right away. Just wait for like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Uh, Boon Boon nearly gets distracted because he's ticklish and the monster's tickling him, but Taya tells him to get it together and focus on the mission. They get they start getting pulled into the vacuum, and so they separate into their individual cars and trample the monster with the Boom Boom trailer, then reassemble back into Boom Boomger Robo, and then finish it off with a good old Boom Boom finish. So pretty standard monster fight there.
And then Yarakar pukes up all the gasoline. Well,
Yeah,
I guess he already did puke it up when they got out of highway space, but it's always fun where he's just like, "Ah," and like the monster just turns into this giant kaiju basically.
yeah. And so this ending is possibly the funniest part of the show so far because they get to the president and deliver the classified documents, only for it to turn out to be a picture of the president with a cat girl maid named Momo-chan that he was super obsessed with. And so no shady business between countries going on, but just a president with a dark secret, and that dark secret is that he is a gooner.
And he's like, yes, Momo-chan, yes. And like they're all just standing there like, what the hell?
Yeah, it just hard cuts to them just standing outside, just in total bewilderment. Like it's hilarious.
We risked our lives for Momo-chan?
But Mira is like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And she thought that was a hell of a journey. And so she's definitely glad to be part of the team. Yeah, thus ends episode 2. A
Oh
really
yeah.
fun one.
And he's like, if this shows anything, it's fun. It
Yep.
is pure fun.
Nothing but good old clean fun. Now, on to episode 3. We got Taya doing some garage maintenance, working on another Boom Boom car, the Boom Boom Classic, which is just based on a classic type car.
Isn't it Taya's like main vehicle that he was using in episode 1? Or is it
Um,
like a different version?
well, I guess. Uh, well, no, the car that he's driving around is the Boom Boom supercar, which isn't like it. I mean, I don't know if they'll ever use it for like a robo combination somehow, but for now it's just a car.
Yeah.
So her coworker's son Hiroto sent the request as he made the mirror for his grandmother, and after talking with him at her bakery job, she promised to deliver the mirror to Hiroto's grandmother at her other job, which Mira doesn't like have a full-time job out of the Boom Boongers. She just kind of does odd jobs here and there. Like she's probably doing some Uber Eats on the side as well.
Yeah. DoorDash.
So, Boom Boom is a very sentimental robot-looking alien, as he's very moved by how much Hiroto loves his grandma. However, Taya, realizes that this is entirely Mira's job, so he's not just gonna lend out one of his cars for her to do the delivery. He says she's got to do it herself. So she gets on a bike and just goes. She just does the delivery on bike,
Yeah, dude, she
just
treks.
on a massive trek through the city. Meanwhile, the Hashalian trio get a call from Mad Rex, who is not happy about them making asses of themselves once again, as he didn't get any gasoline. It all just went to waste. But
Yeah, so he chews them
they,
out. And then like they blame Yarkar for drunk driving.
yeah. But anyway, they gotta get back on the grind and figure out how to get more gasoline. And so Natasha finds an old ass clock and turns it into the clock auto monster. Oh yeah, and this is where we get the the pro. No, here's where we get the here's where we see Taya's assistant Genba formally introduce himself, the man in orange, and he's the one that gives Mira the bicycle for Trek, and of course the helmet, because we can't forego safety. So she goes off, and Taya, of course, thanks Genba. So it proves Taya's not going to leave Mira entirely alone. He's going to help her out a little bit. Genba is aware of this, and he's like, "Oh, you're just having her grind for more experience." And Taya's like, "Yeah, pretty much."
Taya says it's something like he has high hopes for the rising star.
Yes, and Mira is most certainly the rising star of the Boonboongers. She's really proving her worth.
Let's see. And after that, uh, Ishiro calls Taya about the attacking auto monster. Then Genba's like, that doesn't seem like a problem.
Anyway, this clock monster is crazy as hell because he he hates he hates his past life as a clock because uh he couldn't move, like the clock didn't work anymore, so it was just stuck entirely in place. So he now has a resentment for anything that moves, which is just crazy.
Oh
Imagine being
yeah,
that jealous.
yeah, that's a crazy concept for such like because like I just love the imagination because they're just like, oh yeah, this clock doesn't move, this clock doesn't work, so it doesn't move, so it hates anything that does actually move.
Yeah. And then strikes two different oncoming vehicles with his blades and explodes them, presumably killing those people. I mean, that was a pretty violent display.
Oh yeah, that was like, what? I was like, oh my god, we haven't seen something like this in the show for like at all.
Yeah. And
Dark
so
turn.
he's like, I'm gonna cut everything that moves, and then sees Mira just pass right by him. So that sets him off, and so she chases her down, but Tai and Ishiro ain't gonna abide that. They're not gonna let Mira get chopped in half, so they step in and range her up. So those two are fighting, and Mira's trying to find her way through the industrial park. She looks at her changer and turns around. The monster even wants to enact his revenge on an airplane that's flying way outside, and the Rangers take advantage of his obsession with movement and restrain him. But sadly, their plan is kind of ruined by Officer Akase, who sees them, tries to get off his bike, which catches the clock monster's attention. So he slices that bike in half, RIP.
Yeah, it turns into a freaking unicycle.
Yeah. So Mira notices the commotion, but she's got a mission, so she just goes right on without helping. But Taya understands that she's got a mission, so Taya tries to stop the clock monster from going after her, while Ishiro protects the police officer. But the police officer is being kind of difficult and asks what's going on and wants to arrest the monster. Like that'll do anything.
Yeah,
You
I'm
gotta
putting you
kill
under
it.
arrest, thing.
If you put it behind bars, it'll just break out. Like I don't know what you're
Yeah.
thinking there.
Well, in the Japanese courts, I don't know if Clock Monster would be able to make it. Get him with those legal fees, man.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
So it seems like Mira is raising her hand to transform, but she's just giving a thumbs up at Taya, and she's like, I'll do my best, and just goes. Oh, I misspoke earlier. Taya, in fact, does not understand Mira's thinking. He's like, come on, we got a monster to fight. Get back here. But then he's like, you know what? This just makes things more interesting. You go on ahead. Because Taya is just like, I don't know, I love how open minded he is. It's like anything goes. He'd rather things be fun than efficient, which
Yeah.
is why I really like his character. The officer is ready to fire at both the monster and the Rangers, and he fires two bullets, but the clock monster just slices him and the barrel of the officer's gun. But Taya pushes Akase out of the way of the slash. Ishiro generates a shield with the tires on his back that protects all three of them, which shows just how versatile those wheels are. Those wheels can do just about anything, it seems like.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, the clock monster gets away and is coming after Mira. So Boon Boon's tracking him down. Taya is counting on it since the monster's after Mira. He gets into his car, and Ishiro's like, how are you so sure? He presumes that Taya thinks she's acting as a decoy to lure the monster away. Taya assumes that's the case, but Ishiro
Because it's
isn't so
almost
sure.
like the last episode where he's like, oh yeah, because like we did the kind of the same thing to her. Now she's doing it to us. That's funny. And then it's like Cheshire's like, nah, bro, she's totally doing her own thing.
Yeah. Taya has faith in her, acting on her own instinct. You know, he respects that she's an independent girl boss and lets her do her own thing. So Mira makes it to the countryside, just speeding along, and obviously very frustrated. Boom Boom contacts the two and saying that that monster's closing in and they gotta hurry. Ishiro, yet again, still doesn't trust Mira, but he trusts Taya's trust in Mira, as Taya already knows, and then they both zoom off to save Mira. Mira's just exhausted at this point, just
Yeah.
still pedaling through.
Yeah,
Like,
because
damn,
she's
like
in the middle of the countryside at this point.
just let her borrow a car. Like, this is cruel.
Yeah.
but it's a character building experience.
Yeah.
So she keeps pushing herself to go faster. Meanwhile, surely that monster's seen other shit moving around. But no, he is hyper focused on Mira and is just, at this point, just begging her to stop moving. She makes it into a quarry, and the monster trips on some pebbles. Uh, she tr- the monster tries to destroy her with a beam attack, but she just keeps missing as she dodges them all. But sadly, one knocks her off the bike. So the package flies out. Thankfully, the boys arrive just in time in the car and use the hood rocket booster to just blast the monster and make it fly away.
Yeah, they're getting
The
real
car
good at
lands.
like destroying the monster really quick. But then
Yeah,
like Yellow Car's just like, oh, and just like takes all the gasoline right in front of him. Like, again? I
yeah.
bet it's gonna get to
Oh,
like episode 50. They're like, oh, come on!
though I think Yarukar's liver is going to be gone by episode 50.
Straight up.
So the car lands, Mira thanks them, and Taya praises her for her brilliant decoy strategy. But she's like, what decoy strategy?
And then like just dead silence between the two of them. She's like, I thought
And
you were distracting them from me. Is it?
yeah, it goes to
Yeah.
show that Taya doesn't always know what's going on, even when he acts like he does.
Yeah. But that's pretty strong character development for the main character this early on, you know.
Yeah, but Taya doesn't care because it was a fun outcome anyway.
Just cranked him up.
Yep.
The honesty, the lack of gravitas, and the absurdity of the whole day made Mira defy his expectations, and this is what he likes about her. And then Ishira sighs, saying, "No wonder he likes her." I love their dynamic. I love this group dynamic.
But Taya is definitely satisfied with having Mira on the team at this point. They're all just having a good laugh. But the clock monster's not out yet, so they transform, and the roll call has a lot of movement to it, and so this clock monster is just getting so infuriated at this point. They're all fighting, and I really like the action sequence here where uh, Taya tells Mira to like move out the way and duck, and so she ducks and Ishiro fires, and so the bullet goes right over her head. Like I just love the coordination that they have already.
Oh yeah, because it's like even if because like in the beginning he's like, yeah, I don't like this person, but then it's like he still makes a dang good team member.
They do another finisher on the monster, blow it up. Meanwhile, they aren't even there to witness, or the Hush aliens aren't even there to witness the monster getting destroyed because they're just stuck in place, not moving, so as not to incur the wrath. But Yadukar goes berserk again and flies off to eat up the gasoline, thus beginning another highway space chase. Yeah, they they do some bullshit you would see on Idiots in Cars and
Yeah,
just arrange their cars to block off Yadukar, making him swerve and
because
just um
like they do just
uh,
like almost like these I don't want to say anticlimactic ways to defeat Yarugar around this stage, but it's so funny the way they do it because it's like he's like, yeah, I'm getting out of here, and then they just like ram him in mass
yeah.
until he
Well,
just falls off.
it's like they play into like concepts of like traffic laws and like just like driving principles and just
Yeah.
make like very entertaining like road combat sequences. Like it's not just like car fu, but it's like using like traffic concepts to actually like fight. Cause when they box Yarukar in, he asks to pass them, and Tai is like, "Yep, you have the right of way." So he lets him pass, but then he Yarukar passes and goes off the edge because it was a turning lane, and he tries to stop and falls off the road. Like that shit's hilarious.
And he's like, yeah, I tricked him.
So that leads into the final phase with Giant Clock Monster. And um, now obviously there's a bit of a disadvantage because Boom Boom Robo has one sword, Clock Monster has two, but they try to unscrew the Clock Monster's armor like last time, but the screws are so rusted they can't be removed. And so they decide to employ the Boom Boom Classic to use a two-sword style. Boom Boom Classic becomes a second sword and links up with the Boom Boom Jirobo to become Boom Boom Jirobo Nitoryu, which that just means Boom Boom Jirobo two-sword style. Because I noticed it's like Zoro's Santoryu.
Yeah.
So yeah, having a second sword really helps out in the fight, and they're able to mirror the Clock Monster's. The Clock Monster uses the 10-10 strike, so it's like the mirroring the positions of the hands of a clock. So you got like minute hand would be on the 2, and the hour hand would be on the 10, and these slashes. But the Boom Boom Jirobo has the 9-15 strike, which is somehow even more powerful, and that destroys the monster. And so Mira is able to deliver the mirror, and Hiroto's grandma loves it, despite it being cracked. And so thanks Mira for the successful delivery. Meanwhile, Akase is getting back to his station, and he's upset about the paperwork he's gonna have to do, and his bike getting chopped in half.
Yeah, he's just riding it like it's a unicycle.
And he is greeted by a government agent who corrects Akase on those heroes not being tire humans, but boom boongers. That ends that episode on a little bit of a cliffhanger. And so, leading right into it, we see a news report about these so-called tire people.
Yeah, like because it's like it's cool to see like just even by episode 4 that like the national news has caught on to the Boonboongers and the monsters and the giant robots, and it's like I'm surprised there's not more of a panic, but it's like, well, he let me have the right of way.
Yeah,
Talking about like the Boonboonger Robo.
yeah. I love how the boom boongers are treated like cryptids, like they're Bigfoot or something.
Yeah.
So Boom Boom's very happy about being on television because he thinks he's famous now. And Taya's like, they just call us the tire people? I mean, they shout out their names and shit, but I guess people aren't listening for that part. They've just run away by then.
Yeah. It's cool to see like how they use like their boom boom powers just like in the in like their normal human forms, because like they go into like a city park because like Mira's going for a walk and she sees this like kid go after this like runaway soccer ball, and this it's like Yu Yu Hakusho because it's like trucks barreling towards them, and so she like she turns into Boon Pink like instantly and uses like the wheels on her ankles to like do like a turbo boost speed, and like she slows down time and picks up the kid right before he gets hit, and then she gets into safety right as that truck like slams on by.
Yeah. And Mira gives the boy a scolding, telling him not to run out into the street. Yeah, she explains that she is Boon Pink of the Boon Boongers, and Akuse just snaps the handcuffs onto her and is like, "Yeah, you're under arrest."
And it's like she's not gonna like fight him, but like she could totally just break the cuffs. I can break
Yeah,
these
but I
cuffs.
mean, she wants to be nice. She doesn't want to resist
Yeah,
arrest
obstruct
because that,
justice
yeah,
doesn't make her look bad.
yeah, they don't want to act bigger than the law, I guess.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the garage, Ishiro gets an anonymous tip that Mira's been arrested. But it wasn't the police that were given the order to capture her, but rather the International Space Agency, or the ISA for short. And the government agent, Shirabe Saibu, has Mira in an interrogation room. She explains she knows who she is and that the Japanese government has assigned her department to investigate the Boonboongers. The ISA was formed as a response force for alien life forms contacting Earth, which would include Boon Boon, so it explains why they're investigating them. Plus the fact that the Boonboongers have caused several incidents at this point. Of course, Mira objects, saying that she wasn't really part of those incidents because she was focused on doing other stuff, like not really causing any damage, and gets mad at Akuse, who, was a witness to all of that, who should be, vouching for her
Yeah, like
innocence.
she literally saved his life on multiple occasions, and he's just like, yeah, against her.
He just froze up. He just says that Saibu told him that Mira was dangerous, and I guess he just went with it. So Mira calls Taya through her Boon Boon changer and, explains who he is to Agent Saibu. Turns out Taya's familiar with her. She's not happy that her name's been exposed like that. And, it's explained that Chashiro, he just knows how to get his intel. They're really on top of their stuff. Like, they're always prepared.
Yeah, and Mira's amazed at how fast Cheshire works on gathering intel. Because she's totally cool with Cheshire, but he is not cool with her. It's so funny, dude. I love their group dynamic, man. It's like Ty's like hell yeah, and then Mira's like hell yeah to that, and then Chester's like oh come on, and then Ty's like but hell yeah, and he gets okay hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Meanwhile, at AU Sauna, the Hashalian trio are enjoying a sauna room, only to find newspaper articles about the Boon Boon Robo, and Yarukar's pissed off that he's not in any photos. Itasha insists that they should just make their own publicity instead. And so she uses a coal furnace in the sauna room to create a sauna auto monster in order to use heat to make humans scream. And so they do that and order the new monster to turn Earth into a hot, steamy sauna to produce screams. And this monster is very excited about that prospect.
Yeah, this is a very I feel like the power scaling like went up on this monster here.
Yeah, because now you have heat power.
Yeah, like he straight up
It's
just
pretty
like
formidable.
makes like the air hotter.
So meanwhile, Taya invites Akuse and Saibu into the garage, and the policeman's very hyped about this cool secret base and all the cars. And Taya assumes he's an ISA agent as well, but they clarify it's just Saibu. And
Does she?
so,
Oh, we get a little bit of Taya's background with this because Saibu said that she read about Taya upon his reveal who he is. A billionaire who came into wealth from a young age, which explains how the Boonboongers can afford the technology and resources that they have. Uh, which like that kind of makes me think is like, well, he must have inherited that wealth, right? So his parents may not be in the picture.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Oh, yeah.
or
Very
like
likely.
some or like he got the money somehow. I'm guessing through like a relative,
Yeah.
but they're whoever it was, they're not in the picture anymore.
Yeah.
Whether it be like
It,
a rich grandpa, uncle, uh, or his parents, you know.
yeah, I suspect that it's like his parents that died and gave him an inheritance.
Yeah.
Like it really is giving Bruce Wayne vibes,
Oh yeah.
but with less lonerness.
Yeah.
And
And she
so
even she
Taya
has to
introduces himself
yeah.
and Ishiro, and Saibu demands that the Boonboongers be disbanded immediately,
And
so
Ty
that the
just laughs at
ISA.
her.
Yeah, Taya's like, "Fuck you."
He's like, yeah, we're not doing that.
She wants to assign new rangers with the Boonboonger equipment that she feels are better trained for the task of protecting Earth.
And then he
And
laughs even harder at that. And this is kind of when Joe starts to become a bit more intrigued by the team chemistry.
Yeah, he starts to speak up a bit, asking why they can't help with the ISA. But then Taya tries to be coy and insists that, yeah, I'll help out, but under a few conditions. So his conditions are they gotta share intel, have equal footing on such matters, which is kind of funny because the Boonboongers themselves don't usually have equal footing on
Yeah.
intel between themselves, and that he'll only fight with people he chooses that he can trust and believe in. And so obviously Mira and Ishiro have to stay.
Yeah, she's the most like, oh my god, am I getting laid off already?
Oh yeah, Mira's like, I just got this job. And Saibu's just perplexed as to why these two want to fight when no one asked them to. But Taya, he says that he can't stand hearing the suffering screaming of others, for one thing. And the others back him up, with Ishiro saying that Taya is being serious. And Mira says that she just wants to help. They insist that they're gonna keep doing their own thing without letting the government take over. Like, it's like, damn, freaking put up a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, why don't you?
Yeah.
So Joe's impressed by this display of independence, but
Yeah.
all this discussion is interrupted by yet another Hashalian attack, and they turn on the TV and see the sauna monster. Of course, the sauna monster still needs a heat source, so he has some Neji Reda pour hot water on his head that heats him up and creates high humidity, making everyone extremely hot and uncomfortable. And so everybody starts stripping down, trying to get cool, but it's no use. And so this creates a lot of gasoline for the monster to consume. And the heat has gotten up to 176 degrees Fahrenheit,
Yeah,
which
like
is
that's
quite a lot.
insane how freaking hot that is.
Like you're
Like,
gonna freaking
because
kill
you can tell,
people.
like, because everybody instantly is just like their skin's boiling, and they're
Yeah.
just like hanging around, like, yeah, it's pretty hot out here, while like the all those guys are terrorizing everybody in the background.
Yeah, the Hashalian gang trio see the camera crew, so they camera bomb and introduce themselves, and they even do a little Ranger roll call esque thing.
Yeah.
And Yadukar states that it's their mission to make Earth their territory, and their conquest will be fueled by the screams of humans. So anyway, the team pull up, ready to attack, but Saibu orders Akase to detain them and block the door. Taya asks Joe if he can hear the screams of the people, because really it's like all Taya cares about is just protecting people, and all this bureaucracy stuff just gets in the way of that. And Saibu doesn't care. She just insists on holding the order. And Joe, it's like he's got his morals on one end and his sense of obligation on the other, and he's really mixed up. But meanwhile, Gemba calls Taya asking for a delivery. People are crying out for the Boonboongers, like some kids, a truck driver,
And they were, yeah, because this is all the people that Mira saved earlier, right?
the kid Mira saved, yeah. And so Genba's mission is for Taya to deliver the Boonboongers to the people at their request. Which I guess when you put it that way, anything can be a delivery. Like it's
Yeah.
a really pertinent motif here. And Saibu's like, I'm gonna arrest you guys if you dare to leave and help those people. And they're like, yeah, sure, man. And they just leave anyway.
He's like, do it, and he walks out.
Yeah.
Then Joe's just like, he's like, nope, sorry, I also feel the same, and he just runs out too.
But of course, Boon Boon tries to alleviate the tension and offers Agent Saibu some Boom Boom curry.
And then she's like, wait, what the hell's that?
Yeah. So, Sauna Monster is turning up the heat, creating even more gasoline. But then Taya and friends arrive on the scene, and they do their whole thing. Joe is really impressed by the Boom Booncher roll call, which he watches, as he's trying to save everyone. Genba's like, Genba just leaves. He's like, I did my part. So the civilians start cheering on the Boonboongers, which dissolves the gasoline. You know, happiness is like happiness is like what waters down gasoline or gasoline. So this pisses off the sauna monster, and Joe takes this opportunity to evacuate everyone. Meanwhile, back at the garage, Saibu just wolfed down that curry. Like, she really enjoyed that shit. And she's talking with her bosses about the situation and asks for advice on what to do. And then back to the battle, the Nejireta aid the monster in battle using sauna bath towels to attack the Rangers. And so Taya wraps the towels around the Boom Boom handle and then puts him on the ground, suspends himself in the air, then uses his boot to mow down the grunt surrounding him, which was pretty raw.
Yeah, it's like, what the heck? I remember I saw that. I was just like, man, they can literally do just anything with because like that's what I like about the minimalism is that like when they do something really cool with it, you do not expect it.
Oh yeah, it's like they're unassuming in their design, but then they can do all this different stuff and it makes them seem super powerful.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joe is really interested, or he's really impressed by the Rangers, saying that they're real heroes. So Saya gets in a towel fight with the sauna monster, which is pretty humorous. But then the sauna monster gets kicked away. He tries blasting them all with his heat, which weakens the Boom Boongers. Makes them really uncomfortable, especially in those helmets and spandex suits. I mean, that's got to be miserable.
Yeah.
But Taya insists that it's going to take more than that to take him down. So the sauna monster uses his Hisha Crusher to create energy projectiles of his weapons to throw at the Rangers. But Taya deflects them all, and one of them lands in a fountain, blasting it and just sending cold water all down everyone. And that really gives them the power boost that they needed. And they do each individual ranger shows off their signature attacks. So we get
Boom boom
the
driver
Boom Boom
drive.
Driver Drive, which I think was Red's, where he extends his Boom Boom sword like all across the earth. Like, that was pretty fucking crazy. And sends him all the way around the earth just to send him behind himself and strike the monster.
Which like
And then,
that's a crazy feat of power. Just like
yeah,
knock him across the world in a perfect
yeah,
line. And then
yeah,
like isn't Chashiro's just like the shoot driver just lights him up?
yeah, the Boom Boom Shoot Drive, which I forget exactly what that did, but it just blasted him basically. And then Boon Pink uses the Boom Boom Twist Drive, which just, she basically uses the Boom Boom handle like a Wii Wheel in Mario Kart and just remote controls the monster around to torment it, basically. So they do their Bakuage handling drive finisher to finish this one off this time. So
Sword version.
we
Oh
we
yeah.
get another highway space scene, and
For the fourth
Boom
time in a
Boom's
row.
mid cooking as this happens, so he's got to take his apron off and get into the hangar. And
And then like
Saibu's just too distracted by the
yeah,
eating
she didn't
that
even she didn't even
delicious
see
curry.
this like army of cars they have in the rest of the garage.
Yeah,
They're like that are just very, very large cars.
yeah. The
Yeah,
Hush
because
aliens are very
yeah.
concerned about Yadukar's behavior, and they think that the gasoline is affecting it.
Yeah. They this time they drop onto his head in their cars. And so they just like rain fire on him.
Yeah, just instantly. So they knock him off the road pretty quickly
Yeah,
in
like
this
he
one.
gets
There's
on the
not,
road and he gets off the road. Like they instantly
yeah,
dispatch him. And so that's
they
phase
were like,
two.
we're not even gonna waste time with that, and just knock him off the road. Then it's on to fighting the giant sauna monster, and so they form Boom Boom Robo once again, and the sauna monster, predictably powers himself up with hot water, and then he fans hot steam and burning coal ash with the towel to burn the Robo. But thankfully, Ishiro is very experienced with saunas. He goes 3 times a week, and he says the monster is a disgrace to saunas. So Taya orders Mira to take away the hishaku and the towel, and she detaches the Boon Boon wagon from Boonboomger Robo and just snatches it with her claw, like the vehicle's claw rather, and just docks back on the Robo. They screw off the sauna armor again, which leads to another naked gag. And he's also freezing cold because of the spring air and he can't generate heat. And so they defeat him with one last Boon Boon finish.
Annihilation.
So anyway, back at the garage, Saibu has finally agreed to Taya's conditions. So the Boonboongers work in association with the government, but not in subservience to them. So it's more of a co-op than a hostile takeover. And so Taya agrees, but Saibu insists on a condition that someone monitors their activities and reports directly to the ISA. And so Taya chooses Joe for that position,
Who
which,
better?
you know,
Someone
pisses
who
off
knows.
Ishiro
Oh yeah.
because Ishiro just seems to hate everyone.
And it's
What
like
you were saying?
Joe's a really good pick because like he's been saved by them multiple times, but then also had been like faced with the ISA's kind of incompetence in this current situation.
Yeah,
It's like
he's
yeah,
got the best of both worlds here.
but then also has it where there's room for him to have to prove himself because he was on the other side for that time, and we'll get to that.
Anyway, Joe is officially on the team, and uh, Boon Boon wants to celebrate with some curry. You know, he just can't stop making curry, and refers to Agent Saibu as a pretty lady, which flusters her a little bit. But, you know, she gets back to her senses and retains her serious persona and begrudgingly accepts the invitation. And so, yeah, they just celebrate, and that's the end of the episode.
Curry party.
And with that, that covers episodes 1 through 4 of Boonboomger. A fantastic start to what I think is going to be a very fun and memorable season.
Absolutely. And what better way to start off my Sentai binge
Oh yeah,
than with Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger?
yeah,
Putting the Sentai and Otaku Sentai Podranger.
yep. Finally, our name. We've finally covered Sentai, so we are officially a Sentai podcast now.
Hell yeah.
But until next time, this is Podranger signing out.
I would say see you next game, but I don't know what they say in Sentai series, so we will figure that out eventually. But until then,
Yeah.
see you next game.
See you next Boon.
See you next Boon.